Jace had always dreamed of exploring new worlds, but nothing had prepared him for Alaris 7. From the moment his shuttle broke through the planet's thin atmosphere, he was struck by the colors that seemed impossible. The sky glowed with soft shades of lavender and peach, and the air shimmered faintly as if the world itself were alive. Trees with translucent leaves swayed gently, and strange, luminous flowers dotted the ground. Small, floating creatures zipped through the air, leaving trails of sparkling dust. Jace took a deep breath. This was not just another mission. This was a world that seemed alive, vibrant, and welcoming, yet entirely alien. As his boots touched the soft, mossy ground, he felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. His mission was simple on paper: establish contact with the native species, learn about their culture, and report back to the human colony on a nearby moon. But humans had always misunderstood alien worlds before. He didn't want to repeat those mistakes. He wanted to connect genuinely. He had been following the instructions left by the first probes, which had identified signs of intelligent life. A short walk through the glowing forest brought him to a clearing where he saw a small village. It was unlike anything he had imagined. Homes were built from living plants, shaped and grown into intricate spirals and towers. A gentle hum filled the air as if the village itself were singing. Standing in the center of the clearing was a figure who looked humanoid but with subtle differences. Her skin had a soft golden glow, and her eyes shimmered with green and blue patterns that shifted like sunlight on water. She carried herself with grace and a warmth that seemed to radiate into the space around her. Next to her was a smaller figure, a young girl no more than 8 years old with the same shimmering eyes and golden skin. Jace took a cautious step forward. "Hello," he said, raising his hands in a universal gesture of peace. The woman's eyes lit up, and she smiled in a way that made Jace feel instantly at ease. "Welcome to Alaris 7, she said in perfect English, though her voice had a musical lilt that made every word feel like a song. "I am Serena, and this is my daughter, Lena." Lena peeked from behind her mother, her wide eyes filled with curiosity. Jace felt a pang of nervousness. Meeting an alien child for the first time was not something he had prepared for. What if he said something wrong? What if he scared her? Serena noticed his hesitation. "Do not worry," she said gently. "Lena is shy at first, but she has a good heart. She will warm up to you soon." Jace nodded, trying to appear confident. "I'm Jace. I come in peace. I'm here to learn about your world and your people." Serena's smile widened. "That is exactly what we wish as well. Come, sit with us. You must be hungry after your journey." Jace followed them into one of the homes. It was made of a single living tree that had grown into a large, open room. The walls pulsed with soft light, illuminating the space with a warm glow. Around them, small orbs floated lazily in the air, providing additional light and a faint hum that was oddly comforting. Serena gestured to a table that had grown naturally from the floor, covered with fruits and foods that Jace had never seen before. Some glowed softly, while others emitted sweet musical sounds when touched. Lena stepped closer to Jace, still watching him carefully but less shy now. "Would you like to try some?" Serena asked. Jace picked up a fruit that glowed a soft blue. When he bit into it, a burst of flavors exploded in his mouth, sweet, tangy, and a little fizzy. He couldn't help but laugh. "This is amazing!" Lena's eyes sparkled at his reaction. She cautiously picked up a smaller fruit and offered it to him. "It is called a shimmer fruit," she said softly. "It tastes like happiness." Jace took it and nodded, smiling at her. "You were right, it does." As they ate, Serena began to talk about the village and the Alarans. She explained that their society valued trust, kindness, and respect for all living things. Every child was considered a gift, and parents sought to nurture them in ways that encouraged exploration, curiosity, and love for the world. Jace listened intently, fascinated by how different yet familiar their values were. Then, in the middle of the conversation, Serena said something that made Jace blink in surprise. She laughed softly and said, "I will marry whoever my daughter chooses as her father." The words hung in the air like a sudden spark. Jace looked at Serena, unsure if he had understood correctly. Before he could respond, Lena slowly lifted her small hand and pointed directly at him. The room went quiet. Even the floating orbs seemed to hover in midair, as if frozen in shock. Jace's heart raced, and he opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. Serena chuckled softly, reaching over to touch her daughter's shoulder. "It is all right," she said. She means no harm. In our culture, this is a sign of trust and admiration. Lena chooses the people she wishes to guide her life. You are now part of that choice, though it is symbolic, nothing more. Jace let out a relieved laugh, but he was still a little flustered. Ah, I see. That's unexpected. Lena's eyes were serious as she looked at him. There was no malice, only an innocent expectation. Jace felt a strange warmth in his chest, a connection he couldn't explain. Even though they were from different worlds, there was something profoundly human about trust. Serena smiled knowingly. Do not be afraid. Here we honor choice, courage, and friendship. Lena sees something in you, Jace, that resonates with her spirit. You are not obliged to be anything you do not wish, but this is our way of welcoming you. Jace nodded, still trying to process everything. He had expected to study alien technology, learn about their customs, and maybe help them with their problems. He had not expected to be chosen as a symbol of trust by a child. Over the next few hours, Jace learned more about the village. The homes were alive, connected by roots that pulsed softly beneath the ground. The villagers moved with a grace that reminded him of dancers, and their language, when spoken among themselves, was filled with melodies that made his heart feel light. Lena followed him everywhere, asking questions about his world, his ship, and the stars. He showed her how his shuttle worked, and she was fascinated by the concept of engines, gravity, and artificial light. Jace realized that teaching her was as much a joy for him as it was for her to learn. They laughed when a small mistake caused a shimmer fruit to pop like a tiny firework. Jace felt something he hadn't felt in a long time, a sense of belonging. As the sun began to set on Alaris 7, painting the sky in shades of gold and violet, Jace and Lena sat on a gentle hill overlooking the village. The glowing flowers swayed in the evening breeze, and the small floating creatures began to gather near the trees. You really are from another world, aren't you? Lena asked softly. Jace nodded. Yes, I am, and I am very glad to meet you and your mother. Lena smiled, her eyes reflecting the light of the twin moons rising above the horizon. I like you, Jace. You are kind and you listen. That is why I chose you. Jace felt a lump in his throat. He reached over and ruffled her hair gently. And I like you, Lena. Thank you for trusting me. The first night on Alaris 7 was magical. Jace slept under the soft glow of the home, feeling the gentle pulse of the living tree beneath him. He dreamed of shimmering forests, laughing children, and stars that felt closer than ever. For the first time in a long while, he felt that exploration was not just about discovery, it was about connection. And somewhere in the gentle hum of the village, he felt a whisper of something extraordinary, that perhaps, even in a universe full of unknown worlds, trust and kindness could bridge any distance. By morning, Jace knew that his journey on Alaris 7 would be unlike any mission he had undertaken. The adventure ahead was not just about learning alien ways. It was about growing alongside them, understanding a culture that valued choice and love, and discovering what it truly meant to be human in a universe that stretched far beyond his imagination. As he stepped out of the glowing home to greet the new day, Lena tugged gently at his sleeve and pointed toward the forest. Come, she said, I want to show you everything. And with that simple gesture, Jace realized that the adventure had only just begun. Jace had woken early that morning, greeted by the soft glow of the living tree that was their home. The hum of the village was gentle, a calm music that filled the air. Lena had already been awake, her small figure moving gracefully across the glowing floor as she prepared for the day. When Jace stepped outside, she was waiting, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Good morning, Jace, she said, tugging at his sleeve. I want to show you the forest first. You will love it. He smiled and nodded. Lead the way. The forest was alive in ways that reminded him of a dream. The trees had trunks like glass, and the leaves shimmered in the morning light. Flowers glowed softly in blue, pink, and gold, and small creatures zipped through the air, leaving trails of sparkling dust behind them. Jace marveled at everything, taking careful steps so as not to disturb the delicate ecosystem. Lena skipped ahead, pointing out the different plants and creatures. That one is called a lumibee. It hums in patterns that tell stories about the forest. She paused to hold out her hand. See, it likes you. A tiny luminescent bee hovered near Jace's shoulder, its soft hum vibrating in the air. Jace chuckled. Hello, little one, I think we'll be friends. They walked further, and Lena showed him a small stream that glowed faintly from bioluminescent algae. The water rippled in shades of green and purple, and Jace could see small fish-like creatures swimming beneath the surface. He knelt to touch the water, and Lena giggled at his reaction. "You humans have water, yes?" she asked. "Yes," Jace said, "but nothing like this." "It's beautiful." Lena's smile widened. "Everything here is alive. The forest, the water, even the wind. We do not take from the world. We listen and learn." Jace felt a deep respect for the culture she was describing. He had seen alien worlds before, but few were as harmonious as this. The Alarans had a way of living that seemed to celebrate life in every form. As they continued exploring, they came across a group of children practicing what looked like a dance, moving in perfect synchrony with the light around them. Lena waved excitedly. "This is the dance of the stars. We do it every morning to honor the sky and the life it brings." Jace watched, fascinated. The children's movements were graceful, almost like they were floating. Each step created a soft glow beneath their feet, patterns that spread across the forest floor like liquid light. He realized that this was not just a dance, it was a lesson, a way for children to learn harmony and coordination while connecting with their environment. One of the children noticed Jace and ran over. "You are the one Lena chose," the child exclaimed. Jace blinked in surprise. Lena giggled. "Yes, this is my friend Jace. He is here to learn and to help guide me." The other children stared at him curiously. Jace waved, feeling slightly awkward but trying to be friendly. "Hello," he said. "I'm happy to meet you all." The children began to include him in their movements, showing him the steps slowly. Jace stumbled a few times, laughing at his own lack of grace. Lena guided him gently, and soon he could mimic some of the motions. The children cheered, and Jace felt a surge of joy. After the dance, Lena led him to a clearing where Serena was waiting. She had prepared a breakfast of glowing fruits and other delicacies. Jace sat down, still amazed by the colors and flavors. Serena smiled at him. "You are adjusting well," she said. "Lena speaks highly of your patience and kindness." Jace shrugged, feeling slightly embarrassed. "I'm just trying to learn. Everything here is so different." Serena laughed softly. "Yes, different but not impossible. You humans often underestimate your ability to adapt. You have curiosity, and that is valuable here." Their breakfast was interrupted by a soft chime from the village. A group of elders approached, their skin glowing faintly as they moved. They greeted Serena and Lena warmly and then turned to Jace. "You are the human our children speak of?" one elder asked. His voice was melodic and carried an air of authority. "Yes," Jace said, bowing slightly. "I am here to learn and help in any way I can." The elders nodded. "Then you shall accompany us to the learning grounds. We will show you how our knowledge is shared and passed down." Jace followed, curious. The learning grounds were unlike any school he had seen. The area was circular, surrounded by living trees that bent inward to form a natural dome. Within the circle, holographic-like projections of the universe floated in midair, showing planets, stars, and galaxies. Children were already practicing navigation, communication, and problem-solving skills in groups, guided by the elders. Lena tugged at his sleeve. "This is where I learn new things every day. Come, you can see." Jace watched as she worked alongside the other children, her movements precise, her curiosity evident in every question she asked. He realized that the pointing incident from the previous day had not been about selection in a literal sense. It was a gesture of trust and admiration. Lena saw him as someone who could guide her, someone she could rely on. One of the elders approached Jace. "Would you like to participate?" he asked. Jace hesitated. I can try," the elder smiled. "You do not need to be perfect. We only ask that you engage." Jace spent the morning assisting the children, answering questions about his world and learning from theirs. He realized how much humans and Alarans shared: curiosity, wonder, and the desire to understand the universe. He also discovered that teaching could be just as enlightening as learning. By midday, they returned to Serena's home for lunch. Lena was unusually quiet during the meal, thinking deeply. After a moment, she looked up at Jace. "I want you to see something special," she said. Curious, Jace followed her as she led him to a part of the forest he had not yet explored. The trees here were taller, their trunks twisting like spirals, and the leaves glowed in soft blue and gold. In the center was a small pond, its water reflecting the sky in perfect clarity. "This is the mirror pond," Lena explained. "It shows more than your reflection. It shows what you feel inside." Jace looked at the water and saw his own reflection staring back. Then, slowly, the reflection shifted. He saw images of his home, the people he had left behind, and the adventures he had dreamed of. He saw himself guiding and teaching, helping others, and learning in return. The pond shimmered, showing a vision of a human connecting with an alien world, bridging understanding and friendship. He turned to Lena. "This is incredible. I can see why you love this place." Lena smiled. "It is more than love, it is trust. That is why I chose you yesterday. You see the world and you see me. That matters here." Jace felt a lump in his throat. He realized that trust could transcend species, language, and culture. Lena had chosen him not because of any obligation, but because of his character. It was a humbling and profound experience. As the sun began to lower in the sky, the village prepared for the evening ceremony, a celebration of life and harmony. Children, elders, and adults gathered in the central clearing. Soft music filled the air, created by natural instruments and the hum of the living environment. Lena tugged Jace's sleeve again. "Come with me. You must participate." He followed, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The ceremony involved movements, chants, and small offerings to the forest and sky. Jace mimicked the steps as best he could, encouraged by Lena's guidance. She laughed when he stumbled, and he laughed with her, feeling a sense of joy he had rarely experienced. Serena watched from nearby, her expression a mixture of amusement and pride. She whispered to another adult, "He is gentle and patient. Lena's choice is wise. He will teach her, and he will learn as well." The ceremony ended with a display of glowing lights from the trees and flowers, creating patterns in the air that reflected the harmony of the village. Jace watched in awe, realizing that life on Alaris 7 was not just about survival. It was about understanding, caring, and celebrating the universe. As night fell, the stars of Alaris 7 sparkled brighter than he had ever seen. Lena leaned against him, pointing to the constellations. "Those stars are older than our village. They have stories. I want to know your stories too." Jace smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. "I will tell you all my stories, Lena, and I will listen to yours." For the first time since landing on this alien world, Jace felt truly at home. He understood that adventures were not only about discovering new places, but also about building connections, learning from others, and earning trust. And with Lena by his side, he knew that his journey on Alaris 7 was only beginning. The next morning, Jace woke to the soft hum of the living tree. He stretched and glanced around. Lena was already gone, leaving a faint trail of sparkling footprints toward the forest. Curious, he followed, wondering what adventure awaited him today. He found her near a cluster of enormous glowing mushrooms, their caps emitting soft pulses of light. Lena was balancing on one, her arms spread wide, her face alight with joy. "Good morning, Jace. Today I will show you something very special. You must try it with me." Jace raised an eyebrow. "And what is it this time?" Lena giggled. "It is called sky floating. It is safe. You just have to trust the wind and the creatures of the air." He hesitated, looking at the small, winged creatures hovering around the mushrooms. They were translucent, with delicate, shimmering wings, their eyes bright and curious. "Trust the wind, huh?" he muttered. He had always been cautious, but something in Lena's smile made him feel he could try. "Come on," she said, grabbing his hand and tugging him forward. A sudden gust lifted them slightly, and Jace felt the mushrooms sway beneath his feet. Lena laughed as she guided him toward a small platform where the creatures hovered in a gentle circle. With their help, they lifted Jace and Lena into the air, gliding above the forest. Jace's stomach fluttered as he looked down. The forest stretched endlessly, glowing in shades of blue and green, with rivers that sparkled like liquid crystal. Lena held tightly to his hand, giggling. "See, it is beautiful from above. You can see everything." Jace laughed, the fear melting into awe. "It really is incredible." They floated together, soaring past trees and streams with the gentle creatures guiding them. Jace realized that trust was more than a word here. It was a way of life. He trusted the creatures, Lena, and even the unfamiliar winds to keep him safe. After a while, they landed gently on a soft patch of moss. Jace's legs wobbled slightly, but Lena clapped her hands excitedly. "You did it! You flew with the sky!" He laughed, still catching his breath. "I think I can check flying off my bucket list now." "But don't look at me expecting to do that every day." Lena giggled and led him further into the forest. Along the way, they encountered a group of Alaran children building small bridges over glowing streams. They waved at Lena and Jace, and Lena waved back. Jace noticed that the children's bridges were not only practical but artistic, decorated with patterns that glowed faintly. They love to make things beautiful, Lena explained. Everything we create is part of the world. It must not harm, only add. Jace knelt to examine one of the bridges. It's amazing, you all are so creative. One child approached him shyly. Do you want to help us? Jace smiled. Of course, I can try. Together they carried small glowing stones, carefully placing them into patterns that the children designed. Jace struggled at first, accidentally dropping a stone into the stream. The water made a soft musical chime as the stone sank. Lena laughed, pointing at him. You made music, Jace grinned. I guess I did. A little accident becomes a new thing. By midday, they returned to Serena's home for lunch. Today's meal was a variety of glowing fruits and root vegetables, some of which emitted musical tones when touched. Jace carefully tried each one, fascinated by the textures and flavors. Serena smiled at him. You are learning quickly. Lena has spoken highly of your patience and willingness to participate. It is rare for a human to adapt so well. Jace shrugged. I just want to understand. This place, it feels like it has so much to teach. Serena nodded. And you have much to teach as well. That is why Lena pointed at you. She senses your spirit, your curiosity, and your kindness. In time, you will see that you are helping her grow in ways beyond learning games or stories. After lunch, Lena tugged at his sleeve again. Come, there is one more thing I must show you today. Jace followed her to the edge of a cliff overlooking a wide valley. The view was breathtaking. Floating islands hovered above the valley, connected by streams of light that pulsed gently. Creatures of every shape and size glided gracefully in the air, and the rivers below shimmered with colors that seemed alive. This is the Valley of Lights, Lena said. It is the most beautiful place on Alaris 7. The lights are alive. They move with the creatures, with the wind, and with the hearts of those who visit. Jace stared in awe. It's unreal. I have never seen anything like this. Lena held his hand again. Come closer. The lights will dance for you. As they stepped forward, the floating lights began to swirl around them. Some rose like gentle sparks, others formed ribbons that twirled in the air. Jace felt a strange warmth, as if the lights were acknowledging him. Lena's eyes shone as she guided him through the dancing patterns. You see, she said, it responds to you. The world listens to those who are kind, who are curious, who are brave enough to care. Jace smiled, feeling a profound connection to the valley. It really does. I feel welcome here. I feel like I belong even though I am from another world. They spent hours exploring the valley, marveling at the lights and creatures. Jace realized that the Alarans lived in a balance that humans often overlooked: harmony, respect, and joy in every moment. Lena was a perfect example of this culture, curious, kind, and fearless. As they returned to the village, Jace noticed whispers among the other adults. Some were laughing softly, pointing at him, and he realized they were teasing about the previous day's pointing incident. Serena caught his glance and laughed softly. Do not mind. The villagers are playful. They enjoy teasing newcomers. It is their way of welcoming you. Jace chuckled. I think I can get used to that, though I must admit it was quite a surprise when Lena pointed at me. Serena nodded. It is rare for a child to do so immediately, but you have proven yourself trustworthy, patient, and kind. That is why she chose you. The pointing is only the beginning. That evening, the village held another small ceremony. This one was dedicated to storytelling. Elders and children gathered to share tales of adventures, discoveries, and lessons learned from nature. Jace was invited to share a story from his world. He hesitated at first, unsure if the aliens would understand human tales. But Lena nudged him gently. They will listen. Just tell it from your heart. Taking a deep breath, Jace began. He told them about his first journey into space, the wonders he had seen, and the mistakes he had made that taught him humility. He spoke of humans, their curiosity, their creativity, and their flaws. The children listened intently, eyes wide, and the elders nodded in understanding. When he finished, there was a brief silence. Then Lena clapped, her laughter ringing out like music. That was amazing. I want to hear more tomorrow. Jace smiled, feeling a warm glow of satisfaction. I will tell more stories, and I want to hear yours too. The ceremony ended with soft music, laughter, and gentle lights. Jace realized that even though he had only been on Alaris 7 for a short time, he felt a deep connection. The village had accepted him, Lena had trusted him, and he had discovered a new way of seeing the universe. As he prepared for bed, Lena curled up beside him. Do you think other humans could be like you? she asked softly. Jace thought for a moment. Some could, I hope. But the most important thing is to be kind, to listen, and to care. That is what matters most here and anywhere. Lena smiled sleepily. I like you, Jace. You make me happy, and you are my friend. Jace felt his chest swell with emotion. And you make me happy too, Lena. Thank you for trusting me. As he drifted off to sleep, he reflected on the day's adventures. Flying with the sky creatures, building bridges, exploring the Valley of Lights, these were not just experiences. They were lessons in trust, courage, and connection. He realized that even though humans were new to Alaris 7, there was a place for them here, as long as they approached with respect, curiosity, and heart. And in the quiet of the night, with the glow of the village surrounding him and Lena's gentle breathing nearby, Jace understood something profound. Adventures were not only about exploring new worlds, but about forming bonds, earning trust, and sharing kindness. Alaris 7 had already begun to change him, and he knew that the days ahead would bring even more wonders, laughter, and lessons, ones that he would never forget. The next morning, Jace woke to the soft glow of Alaris 7 twin suns rising over the forest. The air was crisp, filled with the hum of the living trees and the gentle songs of floating creatures. Lena was already awake, crouched near a patch of shimmering flowers. She looked up and waved enthusiastically. Jace, come, today is very important. I want to show you the ceremony of trust. Jace's curiosity piqued. Ceremony of trust? That sounds serious. Lena shook her head, giggling. No, it is joyful. You just need to follow me. He followed her through the forest, marveling at how alive everything seemed. The trees bent slightly as if greeting him, the flowers swayed gently in his direction, and the air shimmered with soft light. Lena led him to a wide clearing where villagers of all ages had gathered. The elders, dressed in robes that glowed faintly, formed a circle in the center. Children laughed and ran around the edges, and the floating lights hovered above everyone like tiny stars. Serena approached Jace, her warm smile putting him at ease. This is an important day for Lena and our village. The ceremony of trust celebrates guidance, friendship, and the bonds that connect us. Lena has asked you to participate. Jace swallowed nervously. I am honored, but I am not sure what I am supposed to do. Serena placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Trust the process. Follow Lena and you will see. Lena grabbed his hand and led him into the circle. The elders began to hum in soft harmony, a melody that vibrated gently in the air. The children joined, creating a rhythm with claps and tapping feet. Jace felt a wave of warmth as the sounds enveloped him. You must share a promise, one elder explained, gesturing to Jace. A promise of guidance, protection, and kindness. It does not need to be grand, only true. Jace looked down at Lena, whose eyes sparkled with trust. He took a deep breath. I promise to help Lena learn to be patient, to share knowledge and joy, and to always listen. I will do my best to be a friend she can count on. The elders nodded approvingly and the children cheered. Lena's small hand squeezed his. That is perfect, Jace. You said it exactly right. Next, Lena stepped forward. She placed a glowing flower in Jace's hands. This is the flower of trust, she said softly. It shows that I believe in you and that I am happy you are here. Jace felt his chest swell with emotion. He took the flower carefully, feeling the soft pulse of light emanating from it. Thank you, Lena. I will treasure this. Serena stepped forward and addressed the crowd. Today we honor a human who has come to our world not as a conqueror, but as a friend. Jace has shown curiosity, patience, and respect. He has listened to us and learned from us. He has earned the trust of our children and our village. Let this be a celebration of connection across worlds. The villagers erupted in cheers and laughter. Floating lights swirled around Jace, bathing him in soft illumination. Children ran up to him, asking questions, showing him small wonders of the forest, and sharing their dreams. Jace realized that this moment was unlike anything he had ever experienced. He had crossed the boundary of species and culture, earning a place in the hearts of beings from an entirely different world. After the ceremony, Lena tugged at his sleeve. Come, Jace, I want to show you something very special. Follow me. She led him deep into the forest, to a hidden grove where enormous trees formed a natural dome overhead. In the center was a small pond, its surface perfectly still, reflecting the golden light filtering through the leaves. Around the pond, stones glowed faintly, forming a pattern that seemed to hum with energy. This is the pond of reflection, Lena whispered. It shows what is in your heart and what you bring to the world. Jace knelt by the water, looking at his reflection. At first, he saw only himself, tired, dusty, and slightly bewildered. Then, slowly, the reflection shifted. He saw himself laughing with Lena, helping the villagers, learning from their culture, and sharing his own knowledge. He saw a human capable of kindness, patience, and courage, bridging the gap between worlds through simple trust and friendship. He felt a tear slip down his cheek. I never expected to find this here. I thought I would study, learn, maybe teach a little. But this is something more. Lena reached out and placed a hand on his arm. You are important to me, Jace. You make me feel brave and happy. You make everyone happy. That is why I chose you, not as a father, not as a hero, but as a friend. Jace smiled, overwhelmed by the simplicity and truth of her words. I understand now, Lena. I am honored by your trust, and I promise to keep it safe. They spent the rest of the day exploring the hidden corners of the forest. Lena showed Jace secret glades filled with glowing flowers, small animals that communicated through color and light, and streams that sang as water moved over stones. Everywhere he went, Jace felt the pulse of life, the deep harmony of Alaris 7. By evening, the village gathered once more. This time, they celebrated the stories of Jace's world. Children crowded around him as he told tales of stars, distant planets, and humans exploring the unknown. He described floating cities, vast oceans, and the inventions that shaped human lives. Lena translated his ideas into the language of colors and light so the younger children could understand. The villagers listened with rapt attention. Some laughed, some gasped in wonder, and some nodded thoughtfully. Jace realized that despite the differences between humans and Alarans, the core of curiosity and wonder was universal. As the celebration wound down, Serena approached him. You have done well, Jace. You have not only taught and shared, but you have connected with our children and our culture in ways few outsiders ever can. Jace bowed slightly. I have learned more than I could ever teach. Alaris 7 is amazing. Lena, you have shown me a world full of life and kindness. Serena smiled. And you have shown her that humans can be gentle, thoughtful, and brave. That is the essence of trust across worlds. Lena tugged at his sleeve, leading him to the edge of the village where the twin moons reflected in the river below. Jace, I am happy you are here. I hope you will stay longer. He laughed softly. I wish I could, Lena, but I have duties in my own world. I cannot stay forever. She pouted slightly, but then smiled. Then you must promise to return or at least send messages. I want to share more stories with you. Jace nodded. I promise. I will not forget Alaris 7 and I will always remember you. They stood together, watching the twin moons rise, their light reflecting off the water and bathing the forest in silver. Jace felt a deep sense of peace. He had come to Alaris 7 expecting a mission, but he had found friendship, trust, and a new understanding of what it meant to be human in a universe full of life. As the night deepened, Jace prepared to leave the village. The elders and children gathered to bid him farewell. Lena ran up to him one last time, placing a small, glowing flower in his hand. This is for you, she said, so you will remember me and our world. Jace took it carefully, feeling its warmth. I will never forget, Lena. Thank you for everything. Serena hugged him gently. Go with our blessing, Jace. May your journeys be safe, and may you carry the spirit of Alaris 7 wherever you go. Jace stepped onto his shuttle, looking back at the village one last time. The lights of the homes glowed softly. The forest shimmered in quiet harmony, and Lena waved, her small hand raised high. He smiled, feeling a profound connection to a world so different from his own, yet filled with familiar truths, trust, kindness, and the joy of discovery. As the shuttle lifted off, he felt the gentle hum of the planet beneath him, as if Alaris 7 itself were saying goodbye. He knew he had left a part of his heart there, but he also carried a part of that world with him. Every lesson, every laugh, every trust placed in him by Lena and her family would guide him as he returned to his own life. As the stars stretched before him, Jace realized that humans did not need to conquer new worlds to prove their worth. Their greatest strength lay in empathy, courage, and the ability to connect. That was what Lena had seen in him. That was what he had discovered on Alaris 7. And somewhere deep in the forest, as the twin moons reflected off the glimmering streams, Lena smiled and whispered to the night. You are my friend, Jace. I know you will always be part of our world. Jace looked out at the endless expanse of space, feeling the same warmth. In that moment, he understood the true meaning of adventure. It was not only discovering new worlds, but discovering oneself through connection, trust, and kindness. He set his course for home, carrying with him memories, lessons, and friendships that would last a lifetime. Alaris 7 had changed him, and he would forever carry the light of that world in his heart.